At this point, we've got Nessus installed, and the plugins are downloaded, and they've actually been set up into Nessus so that they're all ready to use. So we're here at the login screen. I'm going to log in. And now we're into the Nessus user interface. And this is actually a reasonably new user interface. They've gone through several iterations, including having a client at one point that would talk to the Nessus server. So we've got a series of buttons over the top. This is where you would see results if we had actually done any scans. This is where you would see the scans that are in progress, and you can see we've actually got 0 here. And right here we've got where there are some templates and policies are actually where we would spend a lot of time doing configuration for scans. So you would create a policy, or you would modify one of the existing policies. You would set up different preferences and either turn on or turn off different plugins that you wanted to use. We can also create different users, so we could give people a login, and we could actually make them not an administrator, so maybe all they can do is look at the results, and they couldn't actually create scans, as an example. So we've got the configuration here, and if you needed to use a proxy in order to get out to the internet, this is where you would set the web proxy so that you can go get plugins. And here's where we've got the feed. We've actually got an activation code. If you wanted to go to a professional feed away from a home feed that we've currently got, you could update the activation code here. We could force an update of the plugins, but since we just did it a few minutes ago, not going to be any point in doing that. There are some mobile settings where you could have an Apple profile and do active sync, so you could use your mobile phone in order to interface with Nessus. Finally, some advanced settings. So this would set some overall preferences on the scans that you're running and the various things that we'll be doing inside of Nessus. So that's really kind of what it looks like here. As I said, we'll be spending a fair amount of time inside policies, and we'll be going through different configuration settings for the different policies because they're actually reasonably dense. And I can pop one open here. You can see we've got the 4 tabs for general settings, and we've got credentials, and then we've got plugins, and these are all of the plugins that are installed, and you can either enable or disable. And finally, we've got some scan preferences for this particular policy. And you'll notice that several of the tabs actually have pull down. So in addition to the tabs, we have different pages within those tabs based on the different types of settings within the preferences. So we've got preferences here as an example, and we've got a lot of different preferences for different components of this particular policy. And the same thing here with credentials as an example. We've got different types of credentials, and we can set the preferences for those different credential types here within this page. So we're going to start getting into configuring a policy and setting all of the different parameters that we are going to use in order to do some scans, and we'll get started on that in the next couple of videos.